All right, here we go.
And not one person started dancing.
Yeah.
I was dancing on the inside.
Oh.
My brain was
You guys don't
dancing.
know that song?
Rolling down the river.
Yeah. Tina
Rolling.
Turner.
Rolling.
Mary.
Yeah.
Rolling Stones too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I should have played something else. How's you guys doing?
Wake up.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Little, got this gristle going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're all working on the facial hair.
Settling into not traveling, so I look beastly.
Nice.
For another couple of days.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to start traveling next week. So,
Ooh, where to?
Orlando for Honeywell's Hug Building Conference. So that's the Honeywell user group, which is a really great, Hug, which is a really. I went last year. It was great. We learn a lot about what Honeywell's doing. Especially this year to advance Forge. They have some new offerings this year. And then you get to talk to the customers, which is really cool, right? And, over lunch, ask tough questions.
When is that?
Then they look at you and go, so what do you do? I was like, oh, yeah, I'm an industry analyst. I go, oh, okay. What do they do?
I'm that guy on the other side of the conversation.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get a feel.
Send me a check and I'll gladly tell you.
Yeah. So
When is that in Orlando?
Yeah, it's in Orlando. So you want to come
When is it?
You want them in town? 4th to the 6th, I think.
Of July or June?
This month. Yeah, June.
Groovy.
Great. I just spilled. So what's up, guys? Welcome everyone to IoT Coffee Talk.
Yeah.
Is that where we are?
Haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, what's up?
Hey,
She on mute? She can't hear us.
I'm not mute. What is
Hey.
going on? Can you hear me? Yes.
We
No?
can hear you,
Yeah.
Marc. Absolutely.
Awesome. I realized something. We're like the only talk show, tech talk show, just talk show on the interwebs where we don't wear makeup.
I do.
You know what I'm saying?
I do. This took me
rubber noses.
45 minutes, literally. 45 minutes to get.
Yeah. Yeah, you did a really good job with that. What is that? That goatee thing that you got going on there,
It's
Ryan?
yeah.
We're lucky
It's
we
called
come
becoming an adult.
Yeah. I was looking at,
We don't wear makeup.
huh?
How do you know that we don't wear makeup?
Yeah, there you exactly, Andrea. Exactly.
This is the funny thing. I watched some early episodes, and Stephanie would come on all, sort of made up. And then over time, you see her get much more relaxed about stuff. And yeah.
You keep avoiding
What?
the answering my question. How do you know that we don't wear makeup?
There's a new Zoom add-on. It uses machine vision and it analyzes your face, and it says makeup, no makeup, makeup. It just puts a big text box over the face, I think.
Right. So I'm not made up.
No, you're not. You're real.
None of us can make up and get any better looking.
Yeah.
So at least on the guy side.
Lady. Yeah, the ladies. I think natural beauty.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. We're about the real deal. It's just an observation, I mean, because
Yeah, no, I love
just
the comment because you're right. I love the comment. I never wear any makeup of any kind. So
Right, and I think that's I think it's refreshing for folks. I think I mean, everyone now is using AI to make themselves look fuzzier and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So
here's my AI generated profile picture. I see that quite a bit on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's super annoying. Yeah, except for Rob.
It's not professional. Not
Rob's
professional.
awesome.
Except for Rob.
Yeah, Rob looks like a freaking warrior.
Is this Rob? No, it's not Rob. It's AI generated Rob.
AI Rob.
It's
Who would
AI
win?
Rob.
Who would win?
Absolutely.
AI Rob or Rob?
My name is Data.
My name's.
I'm Commander Data. That's
we need one of that kind of episodes, Commander Data against versus.
Yeah, I've always said personally, because how we know lots of people are fast and loose with their talk about artificial general intelligence lately. And my yardstick is we're not to AGI until we truly have created and have Commander Data working exactly as he does on Star Trek. When we have that, then I'll believe it.
Okay. Yeah.
But it is fun to see so ridiculousness that I saw last night. I know I've posted some funny pictures I've seen people post on Reddit. They're using Midjourney with celebrities and all kinds of weird stuff. And so I saw last night some celebrity pics of if let me hang on. I'm going to show them to you actually because I can't help myself. So what if you got Taylor Swift and our Dreamboat boy from One Direction got together and had a family, or if Emma Thompson and Andrew Garfield got married and had a family.
You're just AI-ing celebrity families now? Is that where we're at?
This is like Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber had a family.
Oh.
So
Steve did the same thing. No.
It's extremely interesting.
This is all going to improve our productivity.
Hey,
we're going to hit the next stage in our global economy here with that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I AI'd my abstract for my next speaking event on AI. It felt very, on point.
I thought it was great, Ryan.
You like the title? Keep Your Head Out of the Clouds is the title of the talk.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that. Actually,
talking AI, data acquisition, normalization.
Yeah.
Keep your head out of the clouds.
Yeah. Everyone's always talking MQTT, OPC UA, all these high-level architecture stuff. And then they walk into a factory floor and they go, oh my gosh, how do I plug into this PLC? It's older than my kid. And so
Really?
I just like hating on people because every time you hear a presentation, they're all like, high-level architecture. I'm like, no. Start at the bottom.
Yeah.
Are you telling them to rip and replace up and upgrade every PLC in their factory? No.
This is horrible.
That's wisdom.
Ryan, you've been hanging out with us too long.
I know.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, I'll be in NYC talking about that.
Oh, wow.
I like hearing Ryan say this.
Yeah.
I
need
really
Ryan
do.
to drop some knowledge on people and make it real for them.
Yeah.
I find it comical. The recent rise of lots of people talking about MQTT and their Hive and their whatever. It's like it's some new big thing. I was like, when we got this show going in earnest, over a decade ago, that's when we were talking about that stuff. And then we've already finished talking about it. And then the last few years, a bunch of Johnny-come-latelys have showed up. And now they're talking about it like they just stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I'm just like, what are you talking about? We've already
kid
been
in
there
town.
and moved on, too. We've moved on a long time ago, actually.
Yeah.
And so it's mind-boggling to me to hear people having these active conversations on Twitter and LinkedIn and everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone wants MQTT Sparkplug B now. Everyone wants like all these different flavors, and I'm just like, okay, but how are you getting it to that point, right? Like, that's always bothered me. Yeah, you can upgrade to the latest controller and re-engineer and have that built in probably, but.
And what did we see when a whole bunch of kids started building their middleware and IoT platforms over a decade ago? And they went to all these companies and they said, yeah, we're in the Raspberry Pi / IoT business. And I'm going to need you to rip out all your old stuff and put in this new stuff. And then we can do business together. And what did those people say to those youngsters with their over 600 platforms? They said, get the hell out of my office, punk.
No outside internet access ever. Get out of my factory.
Oh, geez.
I will not open my firewall.
Yeah.
But you can run anything now, right, on premise. So you can create a data center on the factories. That's easy.
I remember when Poos came into my factory and he goes, I got this things.io deal, and there's billions of devices connected as of yesterday, and you got to ride the wave with me. And some people rode the wave.
Everyone's on it. Let's go.
I wanted to show this. I'm improving more and more my.
DinRail? You got some PLCs on there? Is that a Siemens?
I have an Seed Studio Edgebox AirPi 200. So this runs on a Compute Module 4. Sorry for the mess of the cables. I have a power adapter, the Arduino PLC Opta.
Oh, those are Arduino.
And this is a temperature and humidity sensor, and I have here this is like $10, and this is like a more professional Seed Studio temperature and humidity sensor connected to the Phoenix connector of the Seed Studio. So I think going back of what you mentioned, Ryan, I think every time it's easier and easier to get this data from legacy machines. Maybe I'm a bit naive still on this ecosystem, but I see more and more tools that reduce the friction to enable companies to get this data and put it on plug-in packages in just one click and ship it.
I think it's like the OT side is driving some of this stuff, so they just don't know about these solutions. You're right. I mean, they're available. They're getting easier every day, but they're too busy trying to keep the manufacturing line up and running and fixing stuff as it breaks.
Yeah.
In a high stress environment to where they're like, oh, I don't want to buy this thing off like automation.com or something, and have like this gateway Arduino, and then they don't have their local electrical distributor support holding their hand when that controller fails. Yeah. So it's a lot easier, but they're just not looking where the solutions are, I guess. There's that gap.
Yeah. Well, I actually had a funny conversation some days ago with a friend who was telling me that a PLC, it's a piece of hardware that needs to be there, up and running, when we will be dead. So, it's an interesting definition, right? So this is what they want on the industry, right?
Yeah, but Marc, I have a question.
Really creepy.
I have a question for you, man. Why all the wires? I thought the world was going to be wireless, dude. Look at them.
BT, NB-IoT, BT.
No, first, I don't know why the Wi-Fi credentials, I don't know why don't work, so I need the Ethernet cable.
Okay.
No, this is but this is recommended by my friend Rob Tiffany to have an Ethernet cable always available for industrial shit.
Always.
And then, of course, you need cables for electricity, right? Or you have an invention, an innovation on wireless electricity.
Power tends to be a big deal. But hey, Andreea, we haven't seen you in so long. Where have you been?
I know, and I missed all the cool episodes. The episode where you and Stephanie were at some event last week. And meanwhile, I was in boring Manhattan, New York City.
Oh, terrible.
Oh, so boring.
Boring.
Yeah.
Just a lull.
Was that a conference, a healthcare conference?
Not a conference. It was a monthly get together with organized by HitLab. HitLab is, I don't know if you know, it's an accelerator.
We all know GitLab. We're developers.
HitLab.
Oh, HitLab. Forget it.
That's his cousin. It's GitLab's cousin. HitLab.
Not GitLab.
Healthcare IT, digital health, and it's associated with Columbia University Business School, the digital health folks, and they have programs where they got applicants applying all the time for a variety of activities, and they got one now. So I'm waiting for my turn to be a judge in one of their startup competitions. But this was a monthly. They do a monthly get together face to face, and I never went because I'm always somewhere else, or I have the flu, or I got COVID, or I got something and I can't travel. So this time I thought, it's May in New York City and I'm well, so I'm going. And the get together normally is in some fancy rooftop bar in Soho, but this time it was at the facility of Silicon Valley Bank on Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They had a recent vacancy, I guess.
So we weren't there. No, they're up and running, and
really?
They got the new owner, and so they hosted, and then they invited. They had a cool idea for. Normally, it's a mixer, right? So it's networking and stuff like that. But this time they had an attorney who works with healthcare startups, so healthcare and life sciences, and he came. We had a fireside chat with him, and the key topic was the cap table, and how to navigate all that. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Wow,
that's cool.
Yeah,
navigate that cap table.
Yeah. So that's where I was.
Awesome.
So I missed, this was your episode. The episode was on Wednesday. Wednesday I was traveling. That's why I couldn't join.
Oh,
the plane. Yeah.
You couldn't join from your Gulfstream private plane.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then since I'm on the subject, so the event was Thursday night, and then Thursday at noon there was a 3 hour. So they have a monthly symposium. HitLab organizes a monthly symposium on a variety of topics, and this one was women's health and mental health. And they have not only startups, but established companies as well coming and talking. So this one was really really cool. So because there was a lot of talk about, hey, women's health is not just reproductive health. People forget that when people hear about women's health, they think, oh yeah, it's that, it's reproductive, it's babies, that's it. Well, there's a lot more that technology can help with.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, you asked, so
that's cool.
Yeah, we did.
But by the way, related with health, maybe not women health, but I read about this week about the Blueprint project. Did you read about that? There is this super rich guy who invests $2 million per year on his own body, and he tests a lot of things on his own body, and he's creating he's sharing everything on his blog.
Really?
And he just reduced his age, and is aging less than 365 days per year. Super crazy where the technology and health will go next.
Oh, this isn't that whole thing about super rich people looking to clone themselves?
No, it's not to clone themselves; it's to live forever.
I mean, actually, it's weird. I've been seeing. I'll have to admit, I haven't read them. Seeing articles about cloning, which is, I don't know. It's just getting crazy, right? With Chris, it's what is it? CRISPR. We don't even talk about CRISPR all that much anymore. But imagine combining that with all these other information AI tools that are available now. Nvidia always talks about how they're drug research companies using AI or GenAI for drug discovery. And imagine now what people will start to tinker with on the genetic side of things. Maybe they'll try to use that technology to clone themselves and then create a psychic blueprint and then download it to that clone or some crazy crap like that, you know?
What?
I'm in, Leonard. Let's build it. I'm in.
Now, let's get into serious topics. What do you think about Nvidia?
That was serious, man.
CRISPR GPT.
We live in sci-fi now, bro.
CRISPR GPT.
Yeah. Marc, you asked the question, what do we think of Nvidia? And did anybody hold Nvidia before they shot up, 10 million% last week? And the answer was yes. I did, and I saw the gain.
And you didn't share it with any of us?
The gains.
Yeah, I had some gains. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Microsoft's all in, all the deals and collaborations that they announced. I mean, they already made sales of chips to expand. I mean, Microsoft needs something to.
You know what? I mean, Nvidia is the only game in town, no matter what anybody says when it comes to GPUs.
Yeah.
They are. They have a virtual monopoly on that hardware.
Okay, but Rob, there's got to be who's number 2 and 3? Because this is the conversation I had with this analyst the other day. Who's 2 and 3?
AMD might be number 2 because anybody who made graphics cards, for video games. And so, what was the company that AMD acquired?
Radeon.
Yeah.
ATI.
Yeah. And so they're number 2.
Yeah.
And then Intel has tried so far and failed. They introduced a graphics card last year and it sucks. Will they get better? Sure, they'll get better. But they've got a lot of catching up to. But that means for a quite big period of time into the future, Nvidia is going to be sitting there by itself. Now, their PE ratio is insanity, and
makes no sense.
It's not sustainable, but people are piling all their money into it because right now they're the only game in town. I mean, I remember just like as soon as the whole, OpenAI thing got hot with the Chat GPT, Sam Altman's like, well, yeah, we had to buy 10,000 Nvidia GPUs to train our models. And it's like,
yeah.
Wow.
And then everybody else.
That's not a forward-looking statement.
Yeah, remember up here, don't take us seriously at all on any of this stuff.
Investment recommendation.
Yeah, this is all right. For just we're trying to be entertaining as possible.
Yeah,
but for entertainment purposes only. But yeah, I mean, in terms of tooling, they're there. Jensen always talks about the whole stack thing. They have the system. They have the data center system for all this stuff, especially on the model training side of things. Inference is a different story. I mean, obviously they have presence in inference in the data center as well. It's just how's the Gen AI stuff really going to play out? Is it all going to be data center, hyperscale centric? Will Nvidia be able to get companies to use their AI as a service? They're providing sort of a SaaS type of, it's more of a PaaS service, which I think they call AI as a service. Anyways, they announced that. But how much of that stuff is going to happen in the cloud versus being distributed?
But Nvidia doesn't have to care. They make the hardware that everybody has to have, whether they do it on-prem, in the cloud, at the bottom of the sea, whatever.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any difference. They make the hardware that people have to have. at least for the foreseeable
For the
future.
well, there's other hardware you can run the stuff on. It's just the tooling isn't as readily available and integrated and optimized as it is on Nvidia. So, but you're right. Definitely for the data center, it's just which is where Gen AI is at the moment. Position.
So like even before this Gen AI stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Just training any model. The only way it happens quickly is with Nvidia GPUs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wherever it is.
There he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, who knows how high that stock's going to go? I think Steve Brummer is going to give us a forward-looking prediction.
Just a statement.
Yeah.
Nvidia, they've been going on for a long time now.
Yeah.
As far as their leadership goes, I mean, this is pretty mind-boggling, actually.
Good for them to hang in all this time.
So when did the regulators get involved with Nvidia for what they're doing?
I don't think there's nothing wrong with being hyper competitive. Do you know what I'm saying? And they are. They made great moves, the right bets, and but the question is what is the Gen AI opportunity truly, right? And that's the bigger question,
the money, truly?
Right? And what phase are we in? And I'll like I've said before. The buyers that I talk to, especially on the enterprise side, those are the people who are going to be spending the big money, right? They are being much more cautious than I think folks are being led to believe. They're very super concerned about confidentiality.
Who owns the
data ownership, sovereignty, all that stuff. Yeah. So that's why you're seeing the regulatory stuff kick in. But more importantly, as they're POC, and they've been, they tell me they've been POCing this stuff for a long time because, Microsoft has really been pushing this stuff on them for quite some time, as well as some of their partner vendors. So it's not like these guys haven't been, messing with this stuff. They have, but they're not the ones going around necessarily saying this stuff is magic. They're saying, well, it's good for certain things. It looks like it could be useful for this, but we would never plug this into anything really important, and that sort of like seems to be the consensus of, let's say, the conscientious CIO and CTO. So we'll see.
Not really important. What does that mean? Are they looking at use cases and saying this is not critical enough to use it and sell it as part of my service?
No, they're thinking more of this is a critical system and process, and this is not reliable enough, or we don't know about it enough to trust that it will
do what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Right.
That you can build an application where this thing will consistently better than people, or just regular little scripting can solve and automate, right? And then there's all these other realms of AI that you can look at to bring optimization and intelligent automation. You don't need to have Gen AI to do that stuff,
right?
So it boils down to, well, what's net new, what's actually valuable, and what is going to bring about a return on investment on that project. Because what a lot of people don't talk about is how expensive this stuff is. I mean, like one H100 server, Nvidia H100 server, is $250,000.
Right. Right.
Ooh. Right.
Right. And that's why when you look at the pricing coming from Microsoft and some of the other cloud, hyperscaler pricing, how do you put that into your overall budget?
And for what? And for what value?
Right.
And the thing that to consider here is that, and I posted this on LinkedIn, a calculator is much more efficient in doing simple arithmetic than like ChatGPT or any large language model, right? so, just like you wouldn't ask a calculator or use a calculator to spit out some draft, let's say, article, you're not going to ask these large language models to do a lot of stuff because it just doesn't make economic sense. I mean, I've heard the cost of a search, okay, on ChatGPT is at least 100 times more than a search engine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the economics are going to play out. This is what a lot of the enterprises are doing right now.
So does that mean that the price of the search needs to come down, or what does that mean?
It'll have to.
It will have to, right? But the question is, do you speed up? Do you speed that up somehow? How do you speed that up?
I don't think you really can. I mean, that's Moore's law, right?
Yes, exactly.
Not so Moore's law. And then what you have to do is you have to figure out what are those applications that are really, really valuable that justify. Yeah. And then what you end up finding is that this is what everyone thinks is going to be valuable for, and this is what it's actually valuable for. Yeah. But then on the other front, you have ChatGPT, which is it's out there, and it has a different issue, right?
Yeah. The thing is, there's not enough case studies out there to show that the ROI is valuable enough based on those case study, what you're using it for from an enterprise level.
Remember, you mentioned Leonard. You mentioned drug discovery, right? So that's where Nvidia is big, and that got things going. But it takes time.
Here's the thing. Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. I'm always cautious about press releases. We're saying, we have a partnership or an MOU, or we talked to these guys and they agreed that they're going to do something with us.
Yeah,
I want to know the result. Don't talk about. It's just like people who just. I
want a use case that shows the practicality of it. Show me what you've done, what it's produced, and why a customer bought it.
And then how much did it cost?
Yep.
How much did it cost? Right.
Investment, ROI calculation over time. Here's the problem. Here's our solution. That's why anything more.
Hey, Rob, I got a question for you. So as you know that I'm in that PPI center, that NSF Foundation thing with the college students, and some of them have asked what degree is most useful going forward for AI? Is it being a data scientist? Is it being what? What degree do you think over the next several years will be important to be involved in that industry?
The generic answer is math, but it'll be specific math or maths. To be a data scientist before everything else got hyped, typically you can only say you're a true data scientist if you're a PhD stats guy, and so a lot of that is still real. But it's math. It's not computer science.
It's not.
It's hardcore. Yeah.
I think in my experience, Steve, working on AI projects, there's very few people that have an AI specific focus as their primary job. And there's more people in a different department or vertical responsibility working with a small group of individuals. So they still have the option, if they want to be a manufacturing engineer and then also learn about AI and their broad strokes use cases, right, a high level, and kind of keep that in mind. So I think they can either come in as the specialist deploying the models, coding, or come on the business use case side, application side as well, and then come in from there.
Well, there's been so much, Ryan, of this bundling of AI and ML and data science, all this thing. And so these students are sitting there going,
Plus hype, what Rob said, plus a ton of hype. Data engineer or data scientist? Oh, okay, what's the difference, right? We know the difference, but there's a lot of hype there, right?
Yeah. But data science is not hype anymore. It's data ops. But they should.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The data scientist was a hype of 2 years ago, right?
Oh, it's prompt engineer. It's prompt engineer now, I think.
That's a new million job description.
If someone's hiring a prompt engineer, I can type questions into ChatGPT all day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good to see you, Ian. Great to see you.
Hey guys.
Hello.
We keep.
But Andreea, you said the right thing. People can't forget in the midst of the hype is the data engineering, or basically the cleaning of the data, missing fields, all that stuff, because it's still, input output, right? And if you don't have good data, then you're not going to get good predictions or fantasies.
But to go back to Steve's point, right, about what degree and all that, let's think about also about how much money people make. And when you hear scientist has got this aura of something fabulous about it, right? Engineer does not. Let's face it.
Right. And you look at the starting salaries out of college for, data scientists. So we got to be one, and you're going to make $120,000 starting salary. And so all those people over the last several years in engineering have moved over to that area. So that's why these students are asking me, going, okay, if I throw AI into my degree, will I be a wanted person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a fabulous point that you bring up, because I was talking to my son this morning about that, and he's a rising junior in electrical engineering. And that's exactly what we were talking about. And he's telling me that, okay, I just want to be a hardware engineer. I don't want to be an AI engineer or an AI scientist or what have you. I'm like, okay, you got to think more about that. Okay. Well, because I can be a power engineer, I can be a nuclear engineer without being an expert in that. I'm like, okay, we can talk more about this.
Well, I mean, could AI eliminate hardware engineers?
That's a tough one.
It can help them, sort of, right? I mean, they're already using AI to. When I was at ThingWorks, the PTC guys will tell you, we've been doing generative design for a long time. So I think a lot of this is.
It's a tool.
Not net new for a lot of industries. It's to the general public and investors. It's all a tool, of a sudden,
but it's like in medicine, right? It's been a lot of hype about AI is going to eliminate radiologists, which is absolutely not happening. There's no way it could happen. It's the same to your point, Steve, about eliminating hardware engineers. And my husband is a pretty brilliant hardware engineer, and some of the things he does at work, no human being around him can replicate or even, venture to say contribute greatly. AI doesn't even come close.
Yeah. Right.
Well, and you bring it up. You've brought this up a couple of times. The important, the thing that a lot of the AI applications, GenAI applications, don't have is a understanding of the context of the problem or the problem itself. That's why it's important to have domain experts using the tool to get valuable outputs out of it. And so the whole exercise of, designing a prompt to extract the output, the desired output, that, you need to have an expert do that, right? And basically filling in the blanks and preparing the inputs that they're going to put into the.
I typically talk from this perspective. You talk about generative AI, it makes shit up. It has access to all that information, and if you get a prompt out, it's going to put something together from all that stuff, and it maybe put two things together that actually matches, or two things that doesn't match. So for example, like if you have a output from a generative AI that quotes a person saying something, it's probably wrong.
Wow.
That person probably never said that.
Look at this guy.
It's just, it's just machine learning. After this, what comes after, right? So it makes stuff up of what it has.
Oh my God.
But it's also very, very good at finding patterns and structures. So, for example, like ASIC design, I could see generative AI be able to maybe be a good tool in creating new ASIC design based on there's a structure, there's a format, and based on what if we can start looking at all kinds of different designs to see how things are put together, it might be actually a good tool for that. Whereas generalist hardware design is much more than just an ASIC one. It's all kinds of stuff. That's going to be a little bit interesting to see AI there. But that it very good at, if you have some content, say put this in that format, it does a very good job of that. Like ChatGPT, I mean, I can take all kinds of information, say put it in an ISO document format, or put it in a Canvas, your product management type of Canvas or whatever. Does a very good job of that, right? And the same I can see with other things as well. But if you know it's pulling information that you didn't give it, be cautious. You got to be the expert to evaluate that content and say, yes, that's what I would stand by and behind if I was going to put it out. Because it makes stuff up.
Yeah, and that's exactly the whole productivity thesis, or at least the vast majority of it in terms of like exponential value, is exactly what you're talking about, that it's not really good at. It's and I think through this whole POC process that enterprises are going through, organizations are going through, that's what they're going to discover if they haven't discovered it already. Right. And I'll tell you, that's why, Steve, going back to what I was saying before, that is what a lot of these POCs are unveiling. And so going back to what is the Gen AI opportunity, the value potential, I think, is going to be much narrower in terms of scope. And it's going to have to focus on some very narrow, high value applications that justify the
super high value
cost. Yeah, super high. So, like what Bloomberg is doing, I don't know, could be a little bit iffy, but I did talk to a Bloomberg reporter who's been using their Bloomberg GPT thingy majigger, and he says that it's been helpful. So, given that
in what way? Writing articles,
putting articles, or getting, doing basic research. And I said, you double check the numbers, and he goes, yeah, I always do. But it's good because at least, for him, there's a bit of a productivity lift that he recognizes. But let's recognize Bloomberg, they are about, number one, information. They have data scientists, data engineers that are curating and nurturing this thing. And one thing that a lot of people don't talk about, and almost nobody talks about, is how much it costs to maintain these things so that they're quality and they don't have like what's called modal collapse. And basically, what is large language model dementia, where it starts to collapse because of the inputs. It's like weird phenomenon, but there's no solution for it other than you have to keep monitoring it to make sure that it doesn't go off, in its like, nightgown and wander into the street somewhere. You just gotta look after it like it's your grandparents.
It's like your old retired used car sales guy. It's like an old retired used car sales guy.
Yeah,
it's just like, that sounds really good. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to check all of your work. You're extremely confident and it sounds good, but it's all wrong. But that's where you mentioned it, Andreea, Leonard, and Yen, having that domain knowledge to double check the work, getting something to throw at there kind of as a brainstorm or a framework or potential brainstorms, right? But you're still feeding those data points, like Leonard said. You're setting the stage. Here's the context. Here's the lens I want to view this problem through. I need you to calculate this based off humidity and combine that with temperature, and then use this. You're still giving it all of those. You're setting the stage, and that takes the experience, the knowledge, and then that critical thinking.
So what's your guys' experience for specific use cases that you work with?
For like ChatGPT?
Yeah. Do you have anything?
Yeah.
To share, or
they're going to be using this very, very soon. Maybe not ChatGPT, but I don't know if you saw the Adobe and Photoshop.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's a lot of people are going to be automatic. I mean, right now, people that are using it are seeking it out.
Yeah.
But with Photoshop, suddenly everybody has. Well, I don't know if you have to subscribe specifically for it. I don't know what that. But once that functionality is out and just you see just a video demo of what it can do, I think a lot of people start trying to use that stuff. But it's going to be a lot of use cases there just to what are you doing?
Rob's got ChatGPT on his phone, doesn't he?
I was going to answer Andrea's question directly.
Yeah.
Oh.
So my main gig, not a profitable one, is I'm a writer, and I write fiction. More so, I'm trying to write more fiction than all these nonfiction books I published. And so I've been really struggling trying to finish the sequel to Submarine Warriors. And so there's an action sequence that I needed help with. And so I just said, describe an action sequence where a submarine is being chased by an underwater alien ship. And, this is real. And I'll just write, I won't bore you, but I'll read a little bit. The sleek submarine glided effortlessly through the dark depths of the ocean, its crew intently monitoring the sonar readings. Suddenly, a blip appeared on the radar screen, rapidly closing in on their position. As tension filled the control room, the captain barked orders to the crew, preparing them for imminent chase. Lights flickered and alarms blared as the alien ship burst through the water, revealing its otherworldly design. Its angular hull shimmered with an eerie luminescence, while strange appendages extended from its side. With a burst of speed, the alien vessel pursued the submarine, matching its every move. Anyway, it goes on for a long time from there.
Wow.
You got a bestseller there.
I think ChatGPT is a little long-winded sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, look, you could use about 40% of the words. It's just talking in circles. You know, it's just the sales guy, and that's all I think of is a sales guy talking in circles.
Yeah. Well, you know, here's my problem with it. Why would an alien ship show up as a blip?
Well,
sonar, and then it surfaces and then reveals itself.
It's a blip on the sonar.
Well, you know what? So just don't buy the book.
You get writer's block, or you're like, how's this scene going to play out? And so I've already done a whole bunch of insane stuff. I think the best is called the Battle of Seattle, where it's a multi-submarine, multi-underworlder battle, literally in the Puget Sound in front of Seattle downtown, and it's insane. But then they're escaping, but they're being chased. And I was like, what's going to happen there? And so, you know, the stuff, you know, it's great to just get you going sometimes, you know. And also the wordiness, I understand what you're talking about, but there's this notion when you're writing, like I remember, you know, when I first wrote the first Submarine Warriors book, and you having people review it, you know, and editors and stuff like that. And they said, you know, I remember early on, it's like, Rob, this sounds like a video game. You know, this happened and this happened and this happened. And it was just like you're playing Xbox. And they're right. And so there's this notion, I'll just use my term, the thickening, where you need more words, more context, more backstory, more flavor, imagery for the reader, instead of saying, you know, I walked into this building and pulled up my pulse rifle and I shot alien, you know, whatever. What else is going on? And so I think the flowery writing will actually be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, think about the Game of Thrones. If you ever read that, I mean, 90% of like that book is like about food. You know, it's like he spends so much time.
He's hungry, man.
The food on the table, and it's like, wow, you can actually make recipes and cook something off of the, you know, half a chapter, because, you know, when there's a banquet or whatever, you know, somebody's like chewing on a carrot, he just goes nuts with that, you know.
Go ahead.
Another book I've been working on is literally a cookbook that's going to be really and it's about different types of queso dip.
I was going to say, how do you queso? I knew it. Why didn't I say it? I knew it. ChatGPT queso. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, you know, when you were reading that paragraph earlier, and we were all listening here. With all I could think of, what came to mind was like 50 Shades of Grey of submarines. That's what it seemed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Out of that submarine.
Oh man.
No fraternising with the crew. Hey,
all
Rob,
right. All right, audience. This is when IoT Coffee Talk goes right down the tubes.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Rob to start his IoT queso machine business, or like queso as a service, you know? You just have like remote queso machines in
Give
neighborhoods.
people what they want, right?
Scan a QR code, MQTT, you know, whatever other buzzwords you want in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many PLCs does it take to make your queso?
Just make sure I have a digital.
Only 4, but they're all different brands, so good luck.
Periodic injections of like different statins, like Lipitor and other things, into the queso itself.
Maybe you can do choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure IoT queso machine. Investors, maybe you.
Wow.
Wow. I see a booth at Mobile World Congress coming.
Queso as a service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We've been overthinking and trying to be too brilliant. We should get down to the level of what human beings need and want, and it's queso.
You need to start at the bottom and go up. We've been going top down. You know, we got to solve all the silly things first, and then get to the stuff.
You know, also, since I'm a world-renowned chef in my own mind, show you something else. Show you something else I've been working on here.
Whoops.
Olive oil.
Spicy oil. No,
Yes.
spicy oil.
Yes, spicy oil.
Oh, spicy oil. Wow.
Spicy oil.
Well, now, you know, obviously, our European friends would recognize that when they go to an Italian restaurant or pizzeria anywhere in Europe, sitting on your table will be some kind of bottle of spicy chili oil. Like you can see, I've got my little pepper in there, you know. And so I noticed that this is not a thing in the United States in Estados Unidos. And I don't know why. And so, because I remember watching people just pour this all over their pizza or put it on focaccia bread or different things like that. And so I started experimenting. I mean, a lot of people are just, you know, like those red pepper flakes you put on the pizza. They're like, you know, olive oil, red pepper flakes.
Much better.
So I've experimented. You know, I put garlic powder and then, you know, and then have different levels of heat. You know, if you need to kick it up a notch, maybe a little cayenne in there. Anyway, this is something other thing I'm working on in the food space.
Start selling this.
Yeah.
IoT Coffee Talk.
This is Rob.
But as an investor, I would say that it's the so anyone can copy your product, right? And make it cheaper and better.
Right. But
maybe
so,
Steve can tell you as well. So
no shit.
What have some of us had to become good at that's not technical? Marketing, guerrilla marketing. So when you're in a commodity market, your differentiation is marketing, 100%. Because you're right, anybody can make that stuff. And so, the clever use of funny quotes or stuff, you know, bring the heat, bitches, or something like that. You know, Instagram, there's tons of things that we all buy, food things every day that are total commodity that can be copied, and yet they're successful. They create a moat. They create a moat through the brand, and you know, and make So I remember years ago doing a startup during the .com time, and we were pitching. I don't know if it was Madrona or Maverick, whatever VCs, and they were talking about barrier to entry for what we were doing, and it didn't feel like there was enough. And they were the primary early investor of Starbucks. And, well, gee, guys, if you had thought that way when Howard Schultz was trying to raise money, you know, how did that happen? Espresso, coffee, there's no barrier to entry there either. But Starbucks created a moat around experience, right? So anyway, I'm just digressing here, but obviously there's other ways to create.
It was the mochaccino. That's what it was, man. It's like freaking sugar. The way you differentiate yourself. is throw as much sugar and like caramel sludge in it, and then you will rule the market.
Now to bring it back to science. Oh, go ahead, Marc.
No, I think in 2023, if you want to put your product in the right marketing for free or almost for free, is to get into the LLMA or into the ChatGPT model. So any text that it generates, it mentioned Tiffany's chili oil or Tiffany's spicy oil.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boom, you have a free ad on every ChatGPT text.
Right. And so we just got to be
on the freemium version.
I need lots of young people on TikTok saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!"
A spicy oil TikTok influencer. Is this where we landed, Rob?
That's what I'm looking for chili oil influencers. Yeah, basically.
Andreea, when you talked about examples, I just heard one earlier or last week that I thought was pretty interesting for the software people around here. I don't know if you're familiar with peer programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got two programmers, one's programming, the other one's kind of looking who talks code. That's an exact example for generative AI or AI in general. Like instead of that extra person, you now have AI looking up resources, checking stuff, checking your code while you write it. That'll be an interesting.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. You gotta take off? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think we gotta shut this one down. So who wants to take us out? Yeah, and you want to try?
How do you think you are? Oh,
the outro.
The outro.
Yeah, outro. I mean, I don't play a guitar,
Rob, I think you have to do it. Or Andreea, you want to try?
I gotta run.
She's gonna run away.
She's like, I'm out.
I gotta run away. Yeah. I gotta run. I have
I'm glad you try at least, but I wasn't sure if it was a music takeout or just but hey. So thanks for having me here at the end of this session here today. I have no idea what you started out talking about, but the end of this was pretty interesting. So for everyone that joined us here, I hope you had an experience, both good, indifferent, or at least something that you can bring home and think about, or just thought we were silly as usual, right? But hey, come back again next week and look for us. YouTube and LinkedIn, where we have, and of course your favorite Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
All right, www.iotcoffeetalk.com, and please donate to elevateourkids.org. Yen, you did an excellent job. That was really, really good for your first time doing the outro. And
the outro.
Outro without a guitar.
Without a guitar. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. Take care.
All right. Have a good one, guys.